Welcome to the Loud Mums Club, where we say the quiet part out loud, the good, the bad, and the absolute cooked parts of parenting. What are we drinking today? Coffee, wine, or your children's tears? It's actually 11 a.m. in the morning and even earlier for our guest who's in another state. So there is no wine involved today, but it's lovely to have Lydia. She's joining me. She's a working mum of two and the woman behind Empowered Little Voices. A space born from a feeling I think so many of us mums know very bloody well. How do we prepare our kids for the world without terrifying them about it? When Lydia's daughter started school, she suddenly realized she couldn't control who her daughter met, what she experienced, or what situations she might find herself in. And with that came all those fun little 2 a.m. parental thoughts. Have I taught her enough? Will she speak up? Will she know when something isn't right? So Lydia created Empowered Little Voices, a space for honest conversations and evidence-based guidance around raising kids who are confident, empowered, and able to protect themselves without taking away their innocence or making them scared of the world. And today we're going to get into all of that, the anxiety, the conversations we probably should be having with our kids, and how we give them a strong little voice when we're not there to speak for them. So Lydia, welcome to the Loud Mums Club. You're welcome to introduce yourself. So how many kids do you have now? What age are they?
I've got two kids, a 19-month-old son and a 4.5-year-old daughter.
So was it daycare that prompted you to have these sort of conversations or kinder?
More kinder because
Yeah.
I've always feel very safe around daycare. You know, you punch the code to get in. It's very secure, it's very close. And starting kinder, it's like a whole different world that I didn't know about.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. It's an adjustment period regardless, I think, whether you're going to kinder, daycare, whatever. I think the fact that as a mum, it almost goes against everything to hand your children over to strangers. But unfortunately, we don't have the choice. They need to go to kinder, they need to learn, they have to go to daycare if you need to work, and that's obviously some people have to go back to work just financially and situationally. It was, I think, also currently in the current climate. I know we spoke about this when we were messaging, like all the reports and things that are coming out about places like that being unsafe or having reports of predators and things like that. It is important to sort of know how to have those conversations with your kids and like look out for signs and things. And is that sort of what you are trying to sort of get out there, I suppose?
Yes, for sure. When you start daycare, it's such a huge jump between being with your child 24/7 and all of a sudden they're in the care of someone you don't actually know. So it's very, very often anxiety driven for parents. Like what are they doing? We have no idea, especially when they're little, they can't actually communicate that way. They can't talk, they can't tell you about their day. And I find myself on the apps, trying to get every little updates. And then once you're comfortable with daycare and they're getting older and they start communicating, then you go off to school and it's like, whoa, it's a whole different level. Again, you're starting, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know who they're talking to. Are they eating their lunch? Are they having friends to play with? Are the teachers nice to them? And it can be so scary. And when I ask my 4-year-old, what did you do at school today? She's always saying, I can't remember. And
And
I'm
that
spiraling in my head like,
kills me. It just kills me. Even like my daughter started school this year. So like you ask them, how was your day? I don't know. What did you do? I don't know. Like, and you're like, you know for a fact you've just spent 6 hours in someone else's care. I know you did so much. Um, but then it makes you wonder, like, well, yeah, are they being quiet because of other reasons, or are they being quiet just because they're tired? Like, it's hard. Like having, especially when they start to talk, like you want to hear about it all. It's even harder, obviously, when they're nonverbal and not old enough. Yeah, like it's a whole new world, isn't it? It's just a leap into the
and
next
this,
chapter.
I feel like there's so much pressure because you're expected to go to work and just be at work and not be a parent, but at the same time it's like you're expected to work like you're not a parent and you're expected to parent like you're not a working parent.
Yeah.
Um, so there's so much pressure around it all and no one seems to care or no one seems to blink an eye, if everyone makes it seem so easy, but it's not.
Yeah, I think it's important to be honest and to have these conversations of bloody hell, it's hard to be a mum. Like it is the hardest thing I've ever done. And it's important to have people to talk about it with and share tips, tricks, fails, wins, um, all of those things. Do you know what I mean? I think it's
100%.
yeah. Well, speaking of fails, um, do you have a mum fail of the week?
Okay, this didn't happen this week, but it's probably my biggest mum fail ever.
Yeah.
Uh, so I feel like it deserves to be on the pod.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, my daughter had her tonsils and adenoids removed,
Yep.
and we were given a whole lot of medications for her to keep on top of the pain. But we found that during the night is when it was the hardest because she would wake up in pain about 3 or 4 in the morning because the meds have worn off and
Yeah.
she's still in pain. And one of the drugs that they prescribed was oxycodone, which is very strong pain relief and very fast acting.
Yeah, I'm
And
amazed that a child's even getting that. I had that when I had my cesarean.
the strong shit.
Yeah, good stuff.
And one night she wakes up absolutely screaming in pain, and my husband goes to draw her a dose of oxy,
Yep.
gives it to her, and she spits it out because she absolutely hates the taste of it.
Oh, that's hard. Yeah.
He says, "Oh, I'm going to draw another dose." And I'm like, "No, you can't do that. You don't know how much she actually spat out. We
Yeah.
can't give her a dose. Let's just wait and
Yeah.
see." And then, yeah, she turned out to be fine. She calmed down, she went back to sleep, so she didn't spit out that much.
Yeah.
Then the following night, she does the same thing, but she wakes up a little bit later, and my husband goes to work really early in the morning, so he was gone. And at the same time, she's screaming. My 18 months old at the time, he's screaming as well because he just woke up in the middle of the night, don't know what's going on. So I've got two kids in my bed, absolutely screaming. I draw her a dose of oxy, give it to her, and she does the same thing. She spits it out, but
Yeah.
I can I mean, it was dark, but I could see it all come out of her mouth.
Yeah.
And not thinking about what I said to my husband the night before, I went to draw her another dose,
Yeah.
but she was only prescribed 1.5 ml, so it's teeny tiny. So I gave it to her, and the minute I put it in her mouth, I have instant regret because I'm thinking I've overdosed her. Like she's double dose, and
Oh,
so I'm
it's so
stressing and
hard.
I'm pulling out ChatGPT and asking what's the maximum dose that this child can have for her weight and age. And I'm panicking, and ChatGPT says, call the poison line. And then I'm sputtering, and my kids are
And
screaming.
you're just in survival mode going, holy shit, yeah, like it's especially when they're tag teaming you and they're both screaming. How are you supposed to be in control in that situation? And you've got a child spitting out medication and you know that they need it. Did she spit out the second dose?
She didn't. I think I kind of pushed it through, like I've basically shoved it in her mouth.
Yeah, yeah, I
Uh,
get that.
And
Yeah,
then turns out she was fine. So I called the poison line, and they said, well, for her age, even if she did have the two full dose,
yeah,
it's pretty much a limit that she can have, but it's definitely not an overdose. She'll be totally fine. Just watch out for the signs of sleepiness, which she wasn't. And she
yeah.
started talking to me pretty immediately about like crazy things. She was saying like Elena rhymes with banana, and then she says, "Oh, it's such a shame.
So she was a
I'm
little bit high.
completely high. It's off her chops." And she started saying things like, "Elena rhymes with banana. Oh, mom, it's such a shame. I'm allergic to prawns now," which is not even a thing.
Oh, oh, bless her. Like, bless it. Look, you know what? At least she was pain free. And you know, things like that, accidents happen. My kids ate a whole jar of vitamin gummies, and they thought they were lollies. So I immediately called the poison hotline, and the lady was like, "You're all good. They're probably just going to shit themselves. It'll be fine." But like in my mind, I was like, "Oh my God, they're going to overdose on whatever chemicals is in an entire jar of vita gummies." But like, I think as a mum, you have to forgive yourself in those moments. Like you were literally just on survival mode. You're trying to deal with two screaming children. Yeah, I hope you haven't been too hard on yourself. Sounds like she had a great time.
Yeah, yeah, I was panicked on the moment, but now I'm thinking about it, I'm laughing. Like it was so funny, especially hearing her pull out all this nonsense.
Look, I think if she's not vomiting and stuff like that, like it's just, yeah, I think you did what you needed to do in the moment. It's just one of those things. And lucky that like nothing major happened. I think it's also great that there is resources like Poison Hotline and stuff that you can just call and they're like, you're good. Like it just puts your mind at rest. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and like nurse on call, like the amount of doctors and things we've done like in that regard, just done. phone consults and things. Hey, they've hit their head. Like, what do I do? And the hard thing was like we've had a few big eggs on heads, and at like what point do you go to the doctors? And they're like, yep, just don't let them sleep. And I'm like, yeah, but like it's nap time. So like they're sleepy because it's nap time. So how do I know if that's a concussion or not?
Yeah. It always happens when they need to go for sleep.
Literally. And they're like, yeah, just don't let them sleep for the next few hours. I'm like, okay, I have an 18-month-old. Like, that's not a thing. We're on 3 naps a day. Um, I don't think I can keep them awake. It is what it is. Like, that's, yeah, like I said, at least your daughter had a good time. That's really funny. Have you had a fuck around and find out moment with your kids?
I can't think of one particular moment, but the two have been fighting quite a lot. And it's always like, my brother has snatched something off me,
Yep.
and I'm always trying to get in and explain to her that he's little and we need to teach him how to do things.
Yeah.
But it happens all the time at the moment. I'm so over it.
Yeah, our
And
kids, we had that this morning. They were fighting, and I said, right, that's it. TV goes off. Like, if you can't be nice to each other and not be hitting, like, you can have quiet time. Like, I'm not, I get you. Like, I don't know what it is. They just fight all the time, and it's so draining. But I'm now at the point, like, if you hit each other, get on with it. Like, don't come crying to me. Um, I'm sort of sick of having to jump in between them, and they've got to learn what hurts and what doesn't too. I feel like they need to know what the boundaries are when you beat up your brother or sister. So, I'm sort of
this week
just,
I said, fuck it. I'm just gonna let them fight.
yeah,
And
you kind of,
then
I think, as siblings, they have to too. Like, I think they've got to figure out if they punch like their sibling, they're going to get punched back, or they're going to get bitten back, or they're going to get kicked back. Well, that's what it feels like. Like, don't do it if you don't want it to happen to you, sort of thing, you know?
exactly. So this week I said, fuck it. And then the little one snatched something and then she pushed him and then he went to grab a toy and hit her with it. And I said, I'm just closing my eyes. I didn't see anything.
I'm walking away. I'm walking away. I'm not getting involved. That's so funny. Well, I fucked around and found out because I left my son. He had a nap one day last week, and which is like we're in that awkward stage of if he naps, he's now up till 10 p.m. So he can't, like, we need to like not have any naps anymore. And sometimes he just falls asleep at the worst time, on the car in the car at 4 p.m. or something. And I was like, all good. He has a Yoto box, which is like a little music box for kids. So you can put music cards in there. And he was listening to that in his room, but he was putting it on full blast, like listening to Elton John. And I was like, you can't do that. Like, your sister has school tomorrow. You can come and sleep in my room. And then once you go to sleep, I'll put you back in your bed. So I went
Yeah.
and put him in my room and he was having a little disco party and like I didn't think much of it. Then he went really quiet and I was like, cool, he's gone to sleep. Well, little did I realize he'd found a pen and decided to do his own Picasso drawing all over our bed sheets.
Oh
Um,
no.
and I didn't realize until my husband woke up the next morning because it was dark. Like, I just grabbed him, put him back to bed. We went to bed. And then the next morning he's like, have you seen what he did last night? It's now like big pen marks. So I've tried to stain remove them. They're actually in the wash right now. I'm going to have to check and see if that's come out. But I was like, you little jerk. Like, why? Why would you? What was the motivation? Yet again, though, my fault. I shouldn't have trusted him so much.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so that was my fuck around and find out. Not so much the kids this week. I mean, Harry kind of is the star of most fuck around and find out features, but this was probably more my fault than his. I've also got, like, forget how young they are. Like, they're only 4 and 5. And because I'm sure you probably feel that with your daughter. Now you can have a full conversation. It's
Yeah.
hard to fathom, hang on, you're still a little person. Like, you don't have the same emotional understanding and the same thought processes. And I definitely forget that all the time. But anyway. Okay. So before we jump into the podcast and have a discussion about our village verdict, I'd like to give a small business a shout out. Leco Creations. You know the moment when the kids are finally in bed and the house looks like an absolute crime scene and you can light a candle and it's somehow going to fix your entire life? Well, that's where Leco Creations comes in. Beautiful handmade candles that make your house smell like you've actually got your shit together. Even when there's school bags dumped at the door, dishes in the sink, and someone's left a wet towel on the bloody floor, light the candle, pour the wine, ignore the mess. Or do the opposite, which is what I do. Clean the mess, light the candle as your little reward. But sometimes Self-care isn't a spa day. Sometimes it's just a really good smelling candle that nobody talking to you for 10 minutes. But go check out Lekker Creations on Instagram and show them some loud mums club love. Okay, so our village verdict this week is something that I'm really excited to talk to you about, and it's sleepovers, and a sleepover is still a thing. So growing up, I think sleepovers were sort of, for me, a childhood rite of passage. Sleeping bags on the lounge room floor, getting no sleep, being up all night long, eating junk food. Someone's mum is coming in at the middle of the night going, go to fucking sleep. But now that we're parents in the current climate, I think something feels really different. Conversations are being different. Do you think sleepovers are still a normal part of childhood, or do we know too much now to feel comfortable sending our kids off for the night? And I've had a few conversations with other mum friends, especially now we're at primary school. There must just be that level of kids are now talking about sleepovers. And I have a mum, Sarah, who Libby's really good friends with her daughter. And we had a conversation, and I said, "Oh no, I'm a firm no, personally." And I think if I was going to do a sleepover, we'd go to a hotel, which we're actually going to go do tonight, which will be really nice. But are you a yes or a hard no sleepover parent?
I think that sleepovers are still very much a thing. They're still
Yep.
very popular.
Yep.
I'm a hard no for now.
Yeah.
I I just don't want to take the risks.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's what do you mean for now? Like is there an age limit in your mind of where when you'd feel comfortable?
I don't think there's an age limit as such, but I think that people usually think when they're little, it's there's less risk because they're little, they're so innocent,
Yeah.
nothing can happen. They're just having fun. Where in fact, that's probably the most dangerous time because they don't know the signs of something is about to happen to you, like something is wrong. They would just follow whatever all the siblings or parents will say to them, and you're not there to protect them.
Yeah,
When they all,
there's not that cognitive understanding, there's not that body language being able to be read. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Did you have sleepovers growing up?
totally, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had so many sleepovers. Um, yeah, it was just a normal thing. It's my mother was very aware of the whole dangers around it. So she
Okay.
was very cautious and she would only let us go to sleepovers if she knew the parents personally, like if they were friends.
Yeah.
But she was still very cautious. Like I remember when cousins would come over and sleep at our house, she would tell us to sleep in separate bedrooms or separate beds. She was very, very cautious about it. And I didn't really understand back then. I was like, but why? It's not fun. It's not a sleepover if we're not sleeping in the same bed on the lounge.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but now it's only now that I have kids that I think back and I understand why she did it that way.
Yeah.
But she still let us, have a bit of fun.
Yeah. See, the funny thing is, like, I grew up, I feel like sleepovers were normal too. However, we never had that conversation, and I don't remember my mum ever being really protective in that regard. And then I had a conversation with my dad, and dad's like, "Oh, you were always at sleepovers." And I don't remember that. I remember having people staying at our house a lot. I don't remember going away to many people's houses. And whether that was on purpose or not, or if I just was the one that instigated it and said, "Come for a sleepover." Um, but I don't like my parents and me never had those conversations. Like there was never any follow up after the sleepover. And like this isn't a knock to my parents, but I just don't think it was necessarily on the radar. Like
That's
they
it.
didn't know who was in the house. They didn't know if there was older siblings. They only knew maybe the mum. But like none of my childhood friends' parents and my mum, like they weren't best mates. It's not like they were all catching up regularly. They were just, someone I was like, oh, I'm going to so and so's house. Here's the mum's number sort of thing. It wasn't yeah, it's like whereas now there's no way I'd send my child to a house that I don't know the parents. Like, isn't it just crazy how the world has changed completely, I think. Um, and do you have a story? You said you got a story about your first boyfriend sleepover?
Yeah. So a funny story actually. My first serious boyfriend, I'm gonna say in high school, our parents ended up being friends and they were quite close and somehow they moved house, and they were literally our next door neighbors. Like there was one house between us. We could walk to each other's houses and we could like see each other through the fence kind of thing.
Yeah. That's so
And
nice.
yeah, it was awesome. And then when I first asked her if I could go sleep at his house, and mind you, I was like late 16, probably early 17. Yeah, I was probably 17-year old. I think I would just turned 17-year old. And my mum was like, no, it's not happening.
I
What?
also think mums aren't stupid. I think when you've got like a 15, 16, 17-year-old daughter, like I know for a fact I know what I was doing at that age. Like there's no way. And like my husband, when we started dating, I was 18 when we met. And he did not sleep in my room when he came down to visit until I think a good 3 years into our relationship. And he slept in the spare room. We were like
Well,
full-blown adults.
that's it. And so the first time that my mom actually let me go for a sleepover, she's asked her mother if we could sleep in separate rooms. And so I remember the very first time I slept over at his house, I slept in his bed and he slept on the couch. It was hilarious.
So fun. I feel like where there's a will, there's a way. That's all I'm going to say on that subject. I don't think sleepovers are necessary for teenagers in that regard. Like, if your mum's that worried, like, there's a
It's
lot of other opportunities. Like, if, if you're going
but
to make it happen, it's going to happen. Like, I don't think you need a sleepover for it,
yeah,
but that's so funny.
that's
Um,
why we watched all the movies, we'd
yeah,
we had the whole night, and I think we only went to bed at like midnight.
yeah. I
And
mean,
my parents were asleep by then. But he still, yeah, after our movies and everything, he just grabbed his pillow and went and sleep on the couch.
but also respect to him. What a respectful young man. Like, that's quite nice too.
Exactly.
Do you think your own childhood experiences have influenced how you feel about sleepovers now? Or do you like, did anything ever happen? Or is it just more sort of awareness?
I don't think it's influenced me just because, like you said yourself, my parents never spoken to me about the dangers or the why. They just
Yeah.
say, yes or no. It was never a conversation about this is the risk or this is what can happen or
Yeah.
this is what you should do or anything like that. There was no conversation whatsoever. And I don't blame them. I don't think they knew that they could talk about these topics or that they knew how to. I don't think it was really a thing. But
Yeah. It is.
so,
It's just a different,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just a different culture, I think now. It's a different understanding. I mean, you think about like the olden days, but like, you'd know who the pervert was in the village. Like, whereas now with the internet and with everything sort of being online, like anyone could be a predator. And I think it's like history has now shown that it's not always a creepy looking man. Like it can be anyone. Um, and that's scary. But do you think like when it comes to both your kids when they get older, do you think knowing the mum is enough? Or would you want to know, like, would you interrogate and be like, I need to know every adult who's going to be in the house? Would you ask if there's older siblings in the house? Like, what would you need to know before saying yes?
Well, before I answer that question, just back on something you said before.
Yeah.
My mom, I think she was really aware of the dangers because so she worked with or she had someone as an employee, and then one day, the police came knocking on our door and asked if we could seize his work laptop, and turns out he was a pedophile, and
Oh,
he had lots of material hidden on his work laptop, and we had no idea. He was the kindest person, and my mum thought like the kids, so asked me and my brother, we used to work into her office all the time. I think we even invited him for lunch or something. I can't quite remember. I was quite young, but I do remember him and being quite friendly with him.
yeah.
So yeah, she literally from that point, it was like it can be anyone.
It was a huge reality check for her, obviously, of like I've let this person unbeknownst to me, but like he's been around my children. Like you wouldn't have known. Do you remember her sitting down with you after and then asking her anything about like was there any red flags with you kids, or were you sort of too young to be having those kind of conversations, or
Yeah, I don't, again, back on the same as the sleepovers thing, I don't think they really knew how to explain it to us. Like
yeah.
I feel like I've overheard conversations between maybe her and my dad, and that's
Yeah.
how I kind of pieces, I've put two and two together. But they've really never spoken to us about it. They really never told us what had
It was
happened.
more how they acted and then implemented like house rules and like their expectations, then I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's much later that I found out or that I, spoke to her about it, and she was like, yeah, he was he's a convicted pedophile.
Yeah. That's crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, that is a prime example of you just don't know. You just don't know.
And
Um,
it's the same with these stories about it, childcare educators being convicted of
yeah.
horrendous crimes. And you probably go to the centre and drop your child off and say hi to him and talk to him.
Yeah.
You have no idea until,
The hard thing with the childcare situation, right, is that um, I struggle with that because I have a son who I think it's really important for him to have male childcare educators and male teachers, and he's got some really incredible male teachers around them and at his daycare. And I don't want to lump every man in the same box. And I also feel that there's also other reports of women also being abusive in childcare and things. So I think it's just comes back to empowering little voices and having conversations of yeah, like how you approach that and trying to get a bit more insight into recaps and being aware of signs, I suppose.
yeah,
It is but like this is why I'm a firm no on sleepovers. Like regardless, until she's an adult and my son, I just can't justify it. No matter I've got best friends and I've got best friends and their husbands that I know really, really well. And I still, because I know the statistics on it being someone that the child knows, feel extremely uncomfortable with it. The only people my kids have sleepovers with is my parents and my husband's parents. And even that's a risk, but there's a level of you also can't stop your children. I also want it to be part of their childhood. Do you know what I mean? Like they go to their grandparents and they have a great time and like the rituals to get pancakes in the morning and like I want to build those memories, but I just don't think outside of that there's any necessary reason for them to go stay at someone else's house. What do you like?
um,
Yeah, what do you think?
I totally agree. And you, there's alternatives, right? You can, if you really want to, if you're close with the parents, you could have them stay as well. And let's say you have three bedrooms in your house, and you could have potentially three mums and kids with their siblings, and the kids can all sleep in the lounge room, and then the mums could sleep in your spare bedroom or in the kids' bedroom. It doesn't really matter. It's just one night, at least you're there with them. Or if you really wanted to, you could all hire Airbnb, and you could all
That's
do an
that's
Airbnb.
why we're going to Crown tonight. So I have no issue doing slumber parties. Like I'm happy to go and stay at someone's house with my daughter, but I'll be sleeping with them. Like I will be the one staying with Liv, or staying with Harry. And I'm all about that. I don't have an issue with that, but I'll be there. Like there's no way I'm leaving them alone. And vice versa. Anyone's welcome to come stay at our house with their kids. But yeah, I think that that's a really good, more modern way of doing it. Um, and I think if you're not friendly enough with the parents to feel comfortable doing that, then you probably shouldn't be leaving your child there alone. You've made a note here, even around grandparents, cousins,
Yeah.
like it's still the fact that 90% of child abuse is perpetrated by someone known to the victim, which is, yeah,
Uh,
like speak more on that. Like, what are your thoughts?
yeah. So 90% of child abuse are perpetrated by someone known to the child. And when they're so young, very often is at sleepovers, and it can be, the parents of the friend, or it can even be older siblings. It's not just parents, it's not just adults. A lot of child abuse actually is perpetrated by other children, which is very, very sad. Um,
But
and
that's potentially because they've been taught that because they've been groomed or something, I would assume.
yeah, and often they've been groomed. Often the parents are groomed before the kids. So you put your trust thinking it's a safe home. I know the parents, I've been there, they have a nice house. So often the parents are groomed first, and then they groom the kids, and the kids have no idea. They're so innocent. They've been told it's a game. Don't tell your parents it's a secret. if you want to play with my child again, then you need to do this. It's very sad. And I've even read and seen so many interviews with children, well, now adults, that were abused by the grandparents. It's horrible to think, but it's true that you have more opportunities, or not opportunities, but it's true that there's more risk when you go for sleepovers and it's people you know, because yeah, just the stats just speak by itself, right?
Yeah, it's not you trying to be judgmental or like withhold your children. It's just
That's it.
like, but then also, I mean, do you worry that banning sleepovers means that your children are missing out? Like that's I think the part that I struggle with because Livy then gets really upset when I'm like, oh no, we're not doing a sleepover with them. Um, but it's not because I'm trying to be difficult. I obviously just want to be conscious of.
I think that's why I say no sleepovers no matter what.
Yeah,
Of course, there might be a day when I'm desperate and I absolutely need for them to sleep at someone else's house because we have no one else to help us. We don't even, my parents live overseas. So there might be a day where we have no choice, but for sleepovers with the purpose of we're just going to sleep over to have fun is a hard no.
yeah,
Uh, and we can't explain to our kids that some people are safer than the other. Like
good
we can't
way of
we
putting
can
it.
this friend is safer than this other friend because it's not true. No one you can't judge, you can't tell. There's no way if someone could look at someone and be like, yeah, he's going to molest my child, then it wouldn't happen. You
Yeah,
just don't know, you can't take the risk. But I get that grandparents are a bit different because you don't want to lose this relationship. It's family, it's bond, and it's quite funny because the person who I would trust the most outside of like me and my husband is my own mother.
yeah,
Um, I would have no problem with her looking after my kids for a whole week if I needed to.
yeah.
So it's hard. It's a hard one. I wouldn't say no to sleepovers at grandparents' house, but I
Yeah.
would say no to other sleepovers.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think I'm also like I was brought up with, you know, I think it was easier for my parents to let me have a sleepover than go pick me up at 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
However, I think I will be the mum that will be happy to go do the late night pickups and let them stay till midnight or whatever. Um, like so they don't miss out on the fun side of things, but then they come home and sleep in my own home. I think that that's going to be the shift in parenting, to be honest.
I
But
think
like
it's a slow progression, but it will definitely change. And more people are aware of the risk and the danger around it. So it's definitely changing.
yeah, it's a constant conversation, I think, and I think it is front of mind for a lot of people. But at what point do we have to trust our kids rather than trying to eliminate every possible risk, do you think?
I think it's important to let them make their own mistakes. Like you can't shelter them forever,
Yeah.
but you do want to equip them with the right knowledge and skills before you let them out and trying to, do things for themselves and test their own limits. Because you don't want to risk them having an experience that could potentially, be on their mind for the rest of their lives and affect them mentally for the rest of their lives, or even yourself, then you're going to live with this regret of I shouldn't have never let that happen. So I think that first is very important to talk to them about safety, talk to them about grooming, and talk to them about the risks and how things are off limit. And it's obviously have conversations that are age appropriate, so you don't have to use the word grooming or use the word unsafe all the time. You can just say, when you feel like this in your tummy, then there might be something wrong, or you use age appropriate language
Yeah, like
according.
we're having the conversation of, nobody touches your private parts. Like, they're now at the age where we're not changing nappies, we're not wiping bums, so there's no reason for anyone to be touching them in their private parts. Um, and like we're trying to, I mean, our kids are very hands-on. Like, there's a lot of slapping bums and slapping boobs and stuff at the moment, like for me. And I'm like, no, like, don't touch my private parts. So I'm teaching them the boundaries of that's how you respond if you're not comfortable too. Like, not that it makes me uncomfortable, but I want to teach them like, no, this is my personal space. You don't touch me there. That's how you then say no, kind of thing. Because Because what conversations, yeah, I mean, I think it's probably up to listeners, depending on the age of their child, to do a bit of research in regards to how to have age appropriate conversations. Because I don't think you don't want to scare children or make things confusing at the wrong, yeah, like I don't want to be talking to my kids and being like, don't get groomed because they're not going to know what that means. Like it's so, yeah, it's so strange, isn't it?
Yes,
Um,
exactly. I think that it's important to start early. Like,
yeah,
no, there's no age. You can start as early as, once they can make a full sentence, you can start talking about safety. It's not going to be about, sleepovers because when they're 2 year old, well, chances are, well, I hope that you're not letting them wander around and you're not seeing where they are.
yeah,
But safety around, the playground or safety around the water. And then when they get a little bit older, it's about, safety when you go to the shops and you don't want to wander around. And what if you get lost? What do you do if you get lost and you can't find me anymore? And then when they are aged school, sorry, when they are school age, and they're starting to talk about sleepovers, then you can start introducing the safety around private parts and all that stuff and consent. And yeah, it's definitely progressive. Like, don't think that you have to dump it all in one conversation as well. It's just little and frequent talks. I
yeah,
think that's the best way to go about it. And as they're getting older and they're facing more situations, they're more open to the world, they're understanding more things, then you can bring in more concepts in.
yeah. I think it's definitely a tradition that needs to be left behind. And less normalized in the current climate. I don't think it's a rite of passage. Um, I'm definitely on the absolutely
Yeah.
not
And
bandwagon for sure. Like,
you know what? Your kids are going to hate you for a reason or another. So I'd rather them hate me for not letting them go for sleepovers than.
I also would hope that, like, as an adult, they'd obviously reflect on that and realize, oh, that makes sense. Like, you're not a bad mum. You're just, and I don't think this is a level of overprotection either. Like, there's a lot of conversations around, oh, well, that's just a bit extreme. I don't think it is. I'm happy to be a 10 p.m. pickup. Like, I don't, yeah, I just don't think it's necessary. I just don't think it's necessary. That's the only way to put it for me. There's so much fun you can have during the day. They're not going to miss out on that relationship building. Why does it have to end in a sleepover? Um, yeah. Even like we had a party last year for Livy's birthday, so for 5 year olds. So there was a bunch of 4 to 5 year olds coming, and two kids were dropped at the door. This was at our house and just left, and I was shocked because I am not comfortable leaving Livy at someone's home unsupervised at this stage. And the
Yeah.
fact that it is at someone's home, they've then put those two children in my care. And not only that, at the party, I was only expecting a couple of mums to come. Well, most people brought their partners too, which isn't an issue. But we're now in a home with 16 kids, both parents, multiple bedrooms. I can't keep an eye on every child whilst I'm hosting the party. And I felt stressed that then those two children were my responsibility. And yes, it's my own home, but I felt like I constantly had to have eyes on them and actually was very conscious to keep them out of bedrooms and in my line of sight at all times. But I was disappointed that I was put in that position because it wasn't previously discussed. And in the current climate, like I didn't know half the people at the party. I didn't know the mums and I didn't know the dads. So it was a real eye opener for me. I was really shocked, really shocked.
I don't think that when we were little, I don't think our parents used to stay with us at birthday parties, but I've never been to one with my own kids and not have
Same.
our parents there.
Yeah. I just think when you go to someone's home, like,
Yeah, or
I-
anywhere, like you say, you can't just leave that responsibility to someone else. It's just so much pressure. You're already having so many people in the house and trying to talk to people and be nice to everyone. And now you're having to look after all these kids. Like it's just not fair.
it was eye-opening to say the least. Yeah. But anyway, I think we're on the same page in regards to our village verdict today. No sleepovers. Um, but let's get back to you. So before we get into empowered little voices, um, so what kind of mum are you? how are you finding motherhood? What are you struggling with the most?
I don't know what type of parent I am. I'm a millennial, and I think that's a type of parent in its own. Like it's a mix between trying to be gentle parent and trying to fuck around.
Oh, fucking oath, I agree. You're trying to do the right thing, but also I don't have the fucking patience. Like, I just, yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. I
Yeah.
agree. Do you think becoming a mum made you more anxious about the world, or do you think you were always sort of quite aware and 10 steps ahead?
Before becoming a mother, I had no idea what a kid involved. For
Oh,
me,
I
like,
don't think any mum does, to be fair. I don't think anyone knows how intense the journey is until you're in it.
yeah, I can keep my plants alive. Surely I can keep a kid alive. No, I had no clue. I had no clue.
I'm the opposite. I can't even keep plants alive, so I don't know how I still have alive children.
Well, they're a bit harder to kill. Joking.
Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was a bit of a shock, a progressive shock, but it was a bit of a shock. Although it's definitely the most difficult thing I've ever done in my whole life, but it's
I
also
agree.
rewarding and the most beautiful thing I've done.
I agree. I think it is the absolute hardest thing. But then like we had a really good day yesterday and I just ended the day just so high on life. Like what a fun day to have with the kids. Like this is what motherhood is about. Like these beautiful days of just bonding and quality time and everyone listening well and behaving well and like, it's one in a million of those sorts of days, but it was really, really nice. So what exactly is Empowered Little Voices and what made you decide to start it?
So, Empowered Little Voices is a page where I'm hoping to create a community of people who are just parents, working parents, perhaps, because I feel like on the internet at the moment, I either see parents who are most likely, not always, but most likely stay at home, and they have this most perfect beige playroom, and the kids are always so well dressed with matching clothes, and all these clothes that look so adorable but so impractical, but yet they're not stained and they look beautiful, and they're doing all these activities, and they always look so perfect and put together. And then on the other side, there's a whole wave of professionals, so they could be, I don't know, psychologist or occupational therapist or feeding specialist or whatever, that's giving so many advice, but they are professionals. They've done years of studies and years in the industry. So it seems so easy and almost unachievable what they're suggesting to do. And I felt like there was no in between. There's no parents that's just trying to do their best and trying to give their children guidance that are evidence-based and that work, but that is also practical and fits in their real day-to-day life. I couldn't find an in between. And so that's what I was hoping to do with Empowered Little Voices, is really reminding parents and caretakers that it's hard, it's not always perfect, and we're growing with our kids. And if I can give you some advice and guidance from the professionals while reminding you that, we're just parents, we're just trying as well. And it's okay if it doesn't work for you, because it's not a one size fits all, then I'll be winning. And I'm also hoping to do lots of events and activities around empowering children.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what it's about.
No, I love that. So what do you think parents are most worried about when their kids start becoming that next level of independent?
Well, for me, it was when my daughter started school, all of a sudden I felt like, whoa, she's in a world that I can't control.
Yeah, you lost that control. Yeah.
I remember after orientation day, so the very first day of school, I went to my husband and I was like, should I put an AirTag in her bag? I was overthinking it, and I was in this room with I don't know how many kids there are, probably 25, with all these parents, but most of them had older children, so it wasn't their first rodeo, where I had no clue
This is
whatsoever.
your first child. Yeah, it is. I feel like second child, it's so much more relaxing. It's not as big of a deal.
Was like, Okay, I'm the only one who sent my kid in a uniform. Everyone else is dressed casual
Yeah.
because I have no clue that the first day you don't need to wear
Yep.
uniforms. And
Yep.
I was like, okay, great, I'm doing a good job. Day one, and I'm already failing. That's
It's all a learning curve, I think. But like it's just the next chapter you have to learn and read, I suppose, isn't it? That's how I look at parenting. But what does an empowered child look like to you, do you think?
I think an empowered child is a child that is aware of his or her body and knows that they can say no to things and feel confident tackling certain activities, not scared of the world, but confident that, they know what to do in a situation. So, for example, I am at the moment teaching my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, that if we ever go somewhere and she gets lost and she can't find me anymore, I'm telling her the steps and what to do. And yeah, that's to me, that's an empowered child where we will go somewhere. She knows that if something happens and she does get lost, then she knows what to do and she's not scared.
Yeah, she doesn't burst into tears and like break down. Oh, sorry, my phone just went off. Um, yeah, no, I think like yeah, her not bursting into tears and not knowing what to do. I think that's so important. What are conversations do you think parents should be having earlier than we are currently?
Definitely around safety, and safety is so broad, right? It can be safety at the beach, around the water. It can be safety around school and private parts. It can be safety if you get lost and what do you do if you get lost. But definitely talking to their kids about safety. I feel like people just don't talk about it enough, and it doesn't have to be scary. I think a lot of parents think I'm going to scare my child to death and they're not going to want to do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Not the case. It's not the case. We need to talk about it. It's so important.
What do you think that we were taught growing up that we need to sort of unlearn as parents in the modern age?
I think it's the whole thing about stranger danger, because we know that strangers are not necessarily a danger and that a lot of the abuse are happening by people who we know. And also, if you
That's
go,
a really interesting point. You're so right. I've never thought of that. That's so true, isn't it? It's not just about strangers. It's you need to be aware of any person you come into contact with.
and I think, like, let's say we go out in, I don't know, the Royal Show, which here in Perth is huge, and there's about 1 billion people in there, and you
Yeah.
get, well, the only person who can help you is a stranger. So if you tell your kids not to talk to strangers, then they're fucked.
You actually, yeah, it needs to be more about, I saw this really good thing and it was tell your kids to go find another mum. So like a mum with a pram.
Yeah, that's
And I was like, that's actually really good because that mum's going to probably most likely go into protective mode and make sure that your child's okay. And I would feel very confident in that.
That's what I said to my child as well, is
Yeah.
if you get lost and you cannot find me first, don't panic and don't move, because if I'm moving around, you moving around, we're not going to find each other.
Yes.
Find a mother who has kids with her, like kids that look like you and your brother, with
Yes.
her. Because we know that, unfortunately, this is very gender biased, but unfortunately, women are a safer option than men, and women with kids would hopefully have this instinct, the motherly instinct, and will
Yes.
simply help you.
Yeah, I think that I completely agree. I think that's an incredible point. I'm definitely going to have those conversations with my kids. Let's talk about the classic give grandma a kiss goodbye. Do you think we should be encouraging kids, even if they don't want to, kiss grandparents, aunties, uncles, or even hugs? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I would never push my kids to kiss their grandparents. And look, you're gonna laugh, but I know that, like my dad, for example, I know he looks very intimidating.
Yeah,
He loves, and he's so good with kids and he loves kids, but he's always asking for them to give them a kiss.
yeah,
And but no, like if they don't want to, they don't have to. They can give a high five or wave or a
yeah.
fist bump or whatever, but they don't have to give you a hug or a kiss.
I
If you
don't think that you're going to get hate for that. I'm in exactly the same boat. So I don't say when we leave anyone's house, I don't say, give Auntie so and so a kiss, give so and so a cuddle. I said, okay, time to say goodbye, say goodbye. And how they decide to say goodbye is completely up to them. So if they want to go up and give Nanny and Grumpy a cuddle, then that's up to them. If they want to go up and just wave and say goodbye, then it's up to them. So it's like changing the phrasing around it. So I'm not saying go give them a kiss, go give them a hug. It's always just been, okay, go say goodbye, and it's their choice
Yep.
how to say goodbye. And even when they were babies, it was like, okay, say goodbye, and then they would wave. Like it was never a forced interaction. Um, and I
I
don't
think,
know why. I think I had that just from my head from the beginning. And maybe actually, to be honest, because I had two COVID babies, it was more not wanting them to get sick. So it was like, let's not kiss the babies, let's not kiss the kids, please, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I found that often it's grandparents saying, "Well, come give me a kiss or come give me a cuddle." And I tend to sort of take a step back and see what they say.
Yes.
If child feels like they don't want to and they cling on to me, then I'll say, "Well, how about you give a high five instead?" But if they happily go and give a cuddle, then I'm not going to stop them, you know?
I have no hesitation in going, oh, okay, we're not going to give cuddles and kisses today. Let's go. Like, I'm not going to pander to anyone,
Yeah.
including my parents, to be like, um, let's negotiate here. Do you know what I mean? Like, if what my kids are actually very affectionate and they will go give cuddles if they want to, but if they're having a day and they're like, no, and they just go open the door and they go to leave, I'm like, oh, okay, no hugs, like no goodbyes today. That's fine. Like that's completely their choice. Yeah, I won't even negotiate it. Well, why don't you do a high five? Like, I don't know if that's mean. Maybe I should. I don't know. Um,
I mean, each to their own. Everyone's different. For me personally, they have to say bye. So they have to say
yeah,
goodbye, whether they want to wave or
yeah.
just say goodbye. They have to say something. They have to do something. So you don't have to cuddle, but you can give a high five, or you can just wave, or you can just say goodbye, but you have to,
And I
you know.
think that that's teaching, that's respect. I think that that's teaching consent and that's teaching their own body autonomy. But I think it's also teaching them that anyone around them's not automatically entitled to their affection just because they're family. Like even I'm conscious with the kids, like asking them, hey, can you give me a kiss? If they don't want to, I'm not going to force it. Like I don't want me to be the problem either, like it's so interesting. But like,
I used to tell my daughter, this
mm,
was before learning about safety and empowerment. I used to tell my daughter, "Oh, come give me a morning cuddle or come give me a kiss." And sometimes she would say no, and I'll be like making a sad face. And I definitely do not do that anymore
yeah,
because,
you like clock yourself. I'm the same. Like I've realized actually if they want to say no, then I don't have the right to it either. Especially when I've been so like aware of it with other people. I'm like, hang on, let me just check myself here a second. Um, do you think like or what language do you think we can give our kids when something makes them uncomfortable? Are you happy with them just saying no to an adult? Like what are your thoughts on that?
so I'm happy for them to say no. And we also have a safe word. So it's a word that literally means nothing in any context unless you're talking about that specific thing. But
Okay.
we tell them that if they don't know how to, say no, or they don't really know how to communicate the feeling, but they want to get out of a situation, then they can come to so me or my husband, so their parents, and say that safe word, and we will immediately sort of take them away, not ask questions.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of doing it. What about secrets? Like, how do you have conversations around teaching kids that adults shouldn't ask them to keep secrets?
Yep. This is a hard one as well because, sometimes I would give like ice creams or too much lollies to my kids, and I'd be like, don't tell your dad because that's a secret.
Yeah.
Uh, but like, I'm trying to tell them that a secret should never be kept from me or dad to begin with. No adults will ask you to keep a secret. You can have surprises. So at the end of the day or at the end of the whatever period, everyone will find out about it. But a secret that's never meant to be told is a no-go.
Yeah, I think that's just using the right language around it, isn't it? Yeah, secrets and surprises, that's a good way of putting it. So like we're not keeping a secret about daddy's birthday, we've got a surprise for dad, but like making sure that it's just relevant.
Yeah.
Um,
And so about the ice cream, some always say, well, it's a bit of a secret, but like it's not really a secret. If you tell dad, he's just gonna laugh. Like
Or if they do tell that they don't get in trouble, I think that's a big thing too. Like that, the chocolate thing is a really good example. Like, oh, don't tell dad we're eating mummy's chocolate because I have like a secret stash. And But if they go tell him, it's not like they then get in huge trouble. So I think that there's less consequences of telling a secret, if that makes sense. So they would never then be concerned about saying it. Does that make sense too? Um, it's not like a fear of getting in trouble, which I think is what predators would do. They use that angle. So if they know that if a secret comes out, it's not the end of the world, then I think that's also really important. Um, but if a child tells us something uncomfortable or concerning, what's the first thing you should do?
Definitely listen to them with a poker face on. And I know this is hard.
Yeah,
So when this is something that's a bit confronting, you're like, have fear in your eyes, like what is going on? But poker face, listen to what they have to say and really reassuring them that they're not in trouble. Like you said, that's so important.
yeah,
And telling them, thank you for telling me you absolutely did the right thing. And I'm so glad that you told me. Thank you. You're not in trouble. Can you tell me more? Just so I make sure that I understand and I can protect you in the best way. I
yeah,
think the best way to
yeah.
go about
And like you said, poker face, stay calm. What are
it. Yeah.
some warning signs that a child might not feel comfortable telling you something?
Often I think they start saying something a little, they will kind of like test,
Yeah,
but if they're scared, they will change their mind or they'll say, oh no, I'm just joking.
yeah,
Or they just tell you, they will twist the story because they're scared that they're going to be in trouble.
yeah.
Um, Probably the first sign is they're just trying to give you a little bit of the story and then like, no, I'm just joking. It's fine. And they run away. Or actually, no, that's not what happened. It's fine.
The
Because
attempt is going to be there, but it's being able to clock that and going, okay, well, hang on a second. You just tried to tell me something. This is a safe space. Like, tell me more.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, it's fine. You can tell me anything. And if you don't feel comfortable now, maybe we can talk about it later after the bath or something like that.
yeah, yeah. Like, bring it back up later. Do you think we sometimes underestimate kids because we don't want to expose them to like grown up topics?
Yeah, well, that's going back to what I was saying before. I think we are scared that it will make them scared of the world. And
Yeah.
so we hold a lot back from them, but also it stems from our childhood where our parents never really brought these topics up.
And it was taboo and not spoken about. And like, I think even like sex education and having a conversation with my daughter about boys when the time comes will be a very different conversation than how I was brought up. Um, I think a lot more honesty around my personal experience and being really upfront about
Yes.
the mistakes that I've learned. I probably would have appreciated being a bit more aware of what teenage boys can be like, um, than having to learn it myself, just like a bit of a heads up would have been great. Um, but like, here's one that I think might divide some people. Do we owe our kids privacy when they get to a certain age, or do you think that their safety always comes first?
Oh, this is a tricky one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that we owe them a bit of privacy when they get older, but it's about making them so comfortable with you that if something is not right, they can open up to you. Like I actually never had the sex talk with my parents, and so I never said anything ever about my sex life to my parents, anything, any struggles, any worries, nothing.
Yeah.
Because we never had that talk. I felt like I couldn't talk to them about it.
Yeah.
So I think from my perspective, I'm going to make sure that my kids are comfortable telling me anything.
And this
And
is coming back to like laying the foundation now, I suppose, and bringing them up, being empowered and understanding their bodily rights and like how to communicate and that mum and dad are a safe space. And like it is setting it up early, isn't it? It's 10 years in advance, really, that you're building that bond and that trust in that realm. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it. What do you think the difference is between protecting our kids and overprotecting them? Like, where's that line?
we definitely need to let them experience the world from their own eyes. We need to let go a little. We can't be there all the time, and we need to let them experience the world and make their own mistakes.
Yeah,
It's, we need to give them the tools to be able to do so safely, but they need to make mistakes. We can't overprotect them. We can't shelter them from every little risk. Because then one day they'll be on their own, they'll be an adult, they'll be on their own, and they won't know how to face the world. They will crumble. They won't know how to face a difficult situation. We do need to let them experience it for themselves.
It's
I,
preparing them, isn't it? It's preparation, not overprotection. I think that's probably a better way of putting it. It's
I
not,
think about a child that their parent has done everything for them, every single load of laundry and
yeah,
single drive to appointments, and they've done everything. They've never let them, face anything because they were scared that such and such might happen. And then all of a sudden they're an adult, they move out and they don't know how to do anything.
yeah, I think,
It's the same sort of scenario, I think, with
yeah,
our
I
parents.
agree. Yeah, I do really agree with that. Do you think we're raising more empowered kids than our parents did, or do you think that we as parents are just more anxious?
A bit of both. We are
Yeah.
definitely more anxious because social media is just a cruel little monster.
I don't know if anxious is necessarily the right word either. Probably just we are just more aware. Um, and I think you just have to prepare yourself to be having these conversations and preparing your children, I suppose.
We're definitely more aware of the danger because the stats are out there and a lot more people talk about it. There's a lot more podcasts and just numbers. I do think that the media, like the news outlets, are out there scaring us a little too much,
Yeah.
there's a lot more information out there and there's more awareness around the topic.
I think there's different ways that they could approach it too. Like I'm all about being told, what's going down, but I think they're not offering resources. They're not offering the
No.
follow-up of like how to protect your child. Like, yeah, it's really interesting. But if every parent listening could teach their child one thing that you think would keep their child confident, empowered, and safe when mum and dad isn't there, what would you want that to be?
Start talking about it now. Start talking about safety and empowerment. Just give them the space to talk about it. Little talks. It doesn't have to be a big lecture. Just
Yeah.
little talks often, but start now. Do it. Don't put it off. Don't think they're too little or it's going to scare them. You have to do it. We'll have to start talking about it.
Yeah, and it is important at every stage to then be making it relevant and just raising empowered little people. I think what you're doing is incredible, and it is so important to have that sort of middle ground from two extremes. Um, and yeah, if I can do anything else to support it, please let me know. But let's change it up a little bit. I feel like it's been quite a heavy, full-on conversation. I do like to close my episodes with you giving a loud mum a shout out. So whether it's someone in your life, someone online, but someone that you think is doing an incredible job as a mum, and yeah, who would you like to give a shout out to?
Mm. I think there's so many people I'm thinking about right now. Everyone's doing amazing.
Sometimes it's hard to narrow it down, isn't it?
I'm going to give a shout out to my incredible friend Caprice. I think she's killing it, even though sometimes she feels like she isn't. She's got a little boy and she gives incredible dance fitness classes.
Oh wow,
There's,
okay.
and I think that sometimes she thinks she is not doing enough, but she is incredible.
I think most mums have those days of not feeling like they're enough or they're doing enough. And I think any mum that's listening, just know that you're doing the best that you can and that your children still think the absolute world of you. And we just need to stop beating ourselves up so much. But anyway, to every mum listening, like we've just said, you are doing better than you think. And if you yelled today, that's absolutely okay because so did we. But stay loud, mums, and we'll talk to you next week.
Survivor, we've had